Hello and welcome to episode 24 of Things We Play. It's Tuesday, the 3rd of July. My name's Mike Oldman and I am here with Sean Hart.
Hello.
And Joe Tanetta.
Hello.
Hello, chaps.
How you doing?
I'm alright. How are you doing?
I'm alright.
What about you, Joe?
Yeah, I'm good.
This is good news. We got some games to talk about this week.
Yeah.
Next week it's looking a bit sketchy.
Yeah.
But we've got some good stuff to talk about this week. But first, let's just make sure how we're doing. How Joe? How have you been? How's your week been?
My week's been fairly normal. I haven't done anything majorly interesting.
Glasses check. How's it going?
Yeah, the glasses are fine.
Yep. You
Perfectly
can
used to
see.
them now. Yep.
No unwanted side effects.
Nope.
What about that growth?
What great.
That's his face.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. So you've not done anything?
No, not really.
Not watched any movies?
No.
Not played any games?
Well, I play games.
Yes. He plays some games. Cool. Okay. Sean, what about you?
Yeah, I've done some bits and pieces, done a bit of art.
Bit of artwork, which actually some people will have seen. We did tweet out just the line.
Yeah.
Drawing of it?
I haven't illustrated or coloured it yet. You had a bit of a
colour splash.
Yeah.
You know, I
dabble.
yeah, exactly. I got in touch with my inner child and started playing with crayons and colouring in your pictures. I didn't go over the lines.
By numbers.
I did not go over the lines. So yes, it's a cool bit of TWP artwork.
Yeah.
Which features
That's
us
right.
all as sort of like badass comic characters, I suppose.
Yeah.
And it's pretty photo accurate,
Right.
you know.
Joe has been working out. He's looking ripped.
Yeah. You've recently developed that scar across your eye.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. Well, obviously we've got guns. Yeah. So that's cool. Now it's cool. You're going to be doing some more of this.
Yeah.
We like it.
As and when it comes to me.
Yeah. It's made me start thinking about whether we can have sort of cool TWP merchandise and stuff at some point.
Mouse mats.
Mouse mats.
Mugs. Balloons for the kids.
I want a keychain, a plastic keychain with a picture in it. That's what I want.
It's all about bobbleheads.
Bobbleheads. I feel like that's not sort of like the standard merchandise material you can get for free from someone like Vistaprint.
Yeah, I know. But...
You know, but bobbleheads would be cool. Action figures would be awesome. A movie would be great while we're there.
Might be a little uneventful.
Yeah. An opera house in the shape of our heads. You know, why not?
Yeah.
Aim high.
To the sky.
All right, so you did a bit of artwork, did a bit of tracing.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, I joined Raptor.
Join Raptor. Raptor being the online track your statistics of your games.
Yeah, I don't really get it.
I mean, it's kind of weird, isn't it? He gives you like I've joined Raptor before and then I left.
Yeah.
I think I've left twice. Because basically the reason I joined Raptor was because what I wanted was an automated system to tweet out the achievements that I get to my Twitter as I unlock them.
Yeah.
And there doesn't seem to be anything that does that. You'd think that you'd be able to do that just through Xbox.com or something. That seems like a pretty cool thing. Just like show people your achievements because that will encourage other people to then go and get those achievements to compete with their friends and everyone plays more games. Big win for Microsoft. Yeah, that makes sense.
Makes sense.
But nothing seems to do that. And Raptor will allow you to tweet out stats.
Yeah.
But they're annoying. It does it at the end of a day, or I think you can set a time and it goes, today you played X amount of this and earned X amount of achievements. I don't really want that. I want it to say, you've just looked up the skirt of Juliet Starling.
But that would, for someone's timeline, that would get annoying, man.
I suppose it would if they kept
If
playing
I followed you and you just like played any new game, on average, a new game, you kind of knock out like 10 achievements within the first couple of hours as a rough average.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
And I'll just be like, man, fuck my Coleman, not following.
and for bad games, it can be even more frequent than that.
Yeah, I mean, you could be playing Avatar,
exactly.
Burning Earth, which
even with it just saying this person's played this game in the last 24 hours, it's still
I find
pretty
that
annoying.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to see that.
I don't really give a fuck.
I mean, I didn't really join it to do that because I've ranked up whilst I've been on there on games like for Amazing Spider-Man. I've just been playing that solid for the last couple of days, but I saw other people doing that, namely Noah, and who was on the show a couple of weeks back, and Cheryl, who obviously was on a lot of season 1, do it constantly.
Yeah,
kind of. I'm now elite in this and stuff.
It's fairly interesting in that once you log in and you especially if you plug in other consoles like Steam and PS3 as well.
Yeah,
to it gives you really quite a nice breakdown of your gaming habits. So it tells you what games you like, what games you're most likely to finish, and how you do in each thing, and ranks it all, that's quite cool. But I only see it once. And it goes, oh, you like action games? And I go, yeah, I do actually. I mean, who here doesn't know what games they like?
Yeah, it's
I just it's a bit strange. So I'm not completely down with Raptor. I can see how it's fairly interesting, but I don't make it tweet stuff out.
No, no intention of doing that at all. I literally just joined it out of curiosity more than anything.
Okay, fair enough. I joined the library this week.
Good job.
Just similar sort of thing.
Out of curiosity. Never been to the library before.
No, I was
What's all this jazz I hear about libraries?
What I was really looking for was for a system that would tweet out
the books you've been reading.
Yeah, exactly. Every time I turn a page, it lets you know. I finish a chapter. So actually, that's what I was going to say about the Raptor stuff. Just quickly, is that the 24-hour things of like in the last 24 hours you've played such and such and such. I don't care. The reason I don't care when Cheryl or whatever tweets that out on a Twitter account is because it's already happened. Yeah. So it's of no use to me whatsoever. If it's like such and such is playing Halo Reach, then cool, I might jump on Halo Reach. Right, but if it's like such and such was playing Halo Reach and is no longer playing Halo Reach, this information is surplus to requirements.
It's redundant.
Yeah,
it's already obsolete.
I'm not down with that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I haven't done much this week. I watched a movie. I watched an interesting movie actually called Break.
Yeah, you told me about this.
Which I won't go into big details on, but it was fairly interesting in that it was both brilliant and awful at the same time. It's called Break. It's a little independent film, I think, that has Stephen Dorff in it.
Yep.
And the basic situation, the basic setup is it's kind of video gamey, I guess, in that this guy's Secret Service agent, who's played by Stephen Dorff, wakes up one day in the boot of a car. Okay, and he's been kidnapped. He's in the boot of a car. Oh my god, I'm in the boot of a car. But he's not just in the boot of a car. He's in a glass box in a boot of a car. Okay, and he's being held captive by some terrorists who want to find out where the president is,
right,
or where the president's going to be in like some secret bunkers. It could be anyone. Stephen Dorff knows. So he wakes up in this bunker, in this glass box in a boot of a car. There's a timer ticking down from 3 minutes. When it gets to the end, something happens, and then the timer starts again with either another 3 minutes or maybe a different time. But it's always a ticking timer coming down, and when that runs out, something bad's going to happen. Right. So at some point, bees get released into the car. And he goes into anaphylactic shock and stuff, and various other just stupid nonsense. He finds a radio in the box for some reason as well, and starts talking to another guy who's also in the boot of another car. And he's like, I don't trust him. He's like, yeah, but dude, I'm in the back of a car. And he's like, so am I. And he's like, just tell him what you know about the president. He's like, I'm not telling him. And throughout the whole movie, it's quite interesting that he never wavers on it. He's like, I'm not going to tell you where the president is. You can kill everyone, and I'm not going to tell you. And he never falters on that. The other guy in the car, he thinks dies because he goes, I'm not telling you. And the guy's pleading with him. He's going on the radio. He's going, just tell him what you know so we can get out of here. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to betray my country. And the guy dies. Then they later take his wife. They kidnap his wife.
Right.
And she's in the boot of a car as well in a box. And she's talking to him on the radio. And she's like, please, I don't want to die today. Just tell him what you know. And he's like, I'm not going to tell him what you know. I'm sorry, baby. I love you very much. And that's that. And it's like, oh my God, what is happening? Anyway, it later transpires that there's car bombs going off all over the place, and that's what these vehicles are. And when the final timer hits down, the case that he's in fills up with liquid,
right?
And it's a liquid explosive. So he is literally a car bomb, okay? And just about when that's going to go off, I'm going to ruin the movie now, so I don't care. But just about when that's about to go off, boot opens, he gets yanked out, and there's all these other Secret Service agents, because throughout the movie he's not been able to get hold of anyone else from Secret Service. He gets a mobile phone at one point. And he's trying to phone them, and he can't get hold of anyone. And you're like, oh man, what's going on? And then that gets quite good, because the idea is that all of his Secret Service buddies are also in the boots of cars.
Yeah.
And it's been a massive attack, yeah? Anyway, just when it's about to go off, the thing feels like really good. He's about to drown, and now he's an explosive bomb. He gets pulled out, gets yanked out, and there's a bunch of Secret Service guys around the boot of this car going, hey! Congratulations, my friend, you passed. You passed the test. You're now ready to...
You're now super Secret Service.
Yeah, exactly. Now you can serve the president properly. And it's like, what? You just did all that as a test. You kidnapped his wife, or made him think his wife was kidnapped and was going to die. Other people have died. And he gets shot at one point in it. He's nearly drowned. It's an extreme test, yeah? And they're all clapping, and he's just like, yeah, okay, this is weird, but okay. Then they put him in an ambulance, because obviously he's not all right. And they take him away. And he's talking to his wife who's in the back of the ambulance, and she's like, oh, I love you, I've missed you so much. And he looks up out the window of the ambulance and sees the Washington Monument and just kind of chuckles to himself. And she's like, what, seriously? That's where it is? That's where the bunker is? It's under the monument? And he's like, it doesn't matter now. Thank God this is over. Hey, I just got a big promotion. Let's get on with our lives. And she just clips handcuffs around him, puts her hand up to her ear and just goes, did you get that? and then the 2 drivers are not ambulance drivers, and it's another double fuck you, and they're all in on it, and then the film ends. Unbelievable in the fact that it not only goes fuck you after a whole movie by going, none of this is real, it's a test. You know, it's a Bobby coming out of the shower moment. And then immediately after that goes, no, fuck you again. This is actually a terrorist thing, and the whole thing's a much more elaborate setup. I don't know what to make of that film. It was kind of good. All the tense bits were really good, really sort of cool Saw moments and, you know, ticking timers and stuff. But then just wastes it on the end. And it's Stephen Dorff cannot carry a movie by himself.
Right.
Is what that movie told me. So I recommend it. I've given it to you actually to watch on, and you should. Even though you
I'll
now
check
know
it out.
Just watch the last 5 minutes for the serious double twist, and you're like, oh god, why did you do that? So that damaged me this week, but it got me thinking about twists and stuff, which got me thinking about. I'm trying to do a tenuous segue here to a game.
That's good.
Spec Ops: The Line. Should we have a bit of a chat about that?
Yeah.
You haven't played this, Sean.
No.
But you did play the demo.
Yes.
We played it, Joe. And Spec Ops: The Line is really quite good.
It's better than I think it should have been.
I think it's better than anyone thinks it is, which is what it's one of those games that's I feel quite strongly about it now, because I really do feel like no one's going to take any notice of it, and it is a lot better and a lot smarter than most video games.
Yeah.
So just to set up, it's a third-person
cover-based shooter.
Cover-based shooter, yeah. And it's not a particularly great third-person cover-based shooter.
It's pretty average.
You know, one thing I will say about it, I thought the cover was awful. The pressing A to get into cover was really
sometimes it
sketchy. Like sometimes you have to be looking. It's not like you have to be standing next to the object and then press A and it will go onto it. You have to be looking at the object.
Right.
So if you're just next to a wall and happen to be looking the other way because that's where you're getting shot at,
he'll run slightly forward.
Yeah,
out of the way.
And it's just like, oh god. So it's a standard cover-based third-person shooter. It's set in Dubai. The initial sort of pitch for it was that there was a lot of sand-based stuff in it. So sand is kind of the third enemy, you know, the third party to this war, where sandstorms come in, they obstruct your vision and various other nonsense. But also there's like sand traps throughout the levels where maybe you'll break some glass and sand will collapse through it and fall on people or whatever. Because you're in Dubai, but Dubai is not in a good way.
No.
You know, so you're going around old, dusty skyscrapers and casinos and stuff covered in sand, and it's all a bit grim. That actually doesn't happen too much, although there are some cool sand moments like we discussed off air, Joe. I didn't feel like there was a lot of the sand stuff in it.
Yeah, no, they made more of a deal out of it than they seem to have been.
Yeah.
So,
I wonder if it changed slightly. I think because when I was initially hearing that, it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it was initially more focused around the sand mechanics. And now, and it seems to have been in the marketing as well, it's been more focused around this sort of moral choice and decision-making thing.
Yeah.
And that's where the game is most interesting, because it does have a storyline that is just littered with lessons for the player, I suppose. You know, it basically is a game that tries to say to you, yo, everything you're doing and all the games you're playing is bad, and you need to know that it's bad. Like, the amount of people that you kill in a Uncharted game or a Call of Duty game or any of those games is bad, and you should be aware of the fact that you are just slaying people. Because, hey, we all love Nathan Drake when we're playing that game. He's our best buddy. He's going through some bad times, you know, but he does just mass murder a lot of people.
Yeah.
And Spec Ops: The Line really tries to go, yo, are you aware you're doing this? And the way it does that is it puts you in difficult situations where it forces you to do something bad. Well, it doesn't force you to do something bad. It gives you the option to do something bad. And if you do it, it then rubs your nose in it.
Yeah.
You know? And not in a harmful way. It doesn't stop. Never at any point do you make the bad choice and the game gets harder or is more difficult or you're penalised in some way. Never that. It just makes you see it. It makes you live the experience. In fact, in many ways, it makes the good choice the harder choice.
Yeah.
So if you didn't want to kill a civilian or you didn't want to take someone out who didn't want to die, you have to take on a lot more bad guys.
Yeah.
You know, as a result. So it's interesting the way it does that, and I thought that was mental.
The way it works really kept me going. So I played it in two different stints. I played it for, like, I don't know, about an hour, and got a little bit annoyed because I kept dying at a certain section. And then I tried it again, and then the story just kept getting better and better, and I just played through the rest of it from there. And you want to finish it because you want to see the end of the story, but at a certain point you don't want to carry on.
No,
because the game's like, so you've done this, and you're like, yeah, I've done that and I really don't want to do any more.
Yeah, it's the first time in a long time I've played a game where I almost turned it off because not only the stuff I was seeing was grim, you know, you see a lot of burnt bodies in games, right? Yeah, you see a lot of innocent people die. The way that was presented, just the sheer scale of it in this game made me uncomfortable. But then also on top of that was the fact that I had done a lot of it.
Yeah.
and it really does put you, because you don't have to do it. There's it's really difficult for us to talk about this game because we don't want to spoil any of these key points. And so it's kind of tricky to us, but you just have to take our word for it. There's a lot better than you think it's going to be. It's very short. It's about 6 hours.
Yeah.
But that's good. You wouldn't want it to be any longer. I don't think like I say, it's a bit challenging to actually just play through anyway.
Yeah.
You know, sort of mentally. But also because it's not the greatest third-person cover-based game, you wouldn't want to play it forever.
Yeah, no.
But there's one bit I wanted to talk about, which I don't think is too much of a spoiler, but is a good illustrator at this point. And there's a moment where in the game you see a group of civilians. They come under mortar fire from these terrorists, and it's like phosphorus stuff that literally burns them alive, slowly and very prettily. Glowing all sort of green and red and stuff in front of you, and it's a horrible scene. You get to see it's ghastly. Your characters react to it badly, and it's grim. Okay, you see that, and then as you go on later through the level, you find a point where you've got the drop on the enemy that's done this to these guys, and there happens to be a mortar next to it, and you can use it if you want. It's got the phosphorus stuff in it.
Right.
I chose to because hey, it's a video game, and why not? You know,
I chose to do it.
Yeah, you know, let's see what happens. And you set it up, and your other player characters around you, the NPCs, are like, "Whoa, are you sure? Like we're not." You know, they question you. They're like, "We're not like them. You know, we don't need to do this. This is bad, no matter who you're doing it to." And you do it. You go into the laptop to use it, and it becomes like the Call of Duty
UAV sections.
Yeah, where it's sort of black and white, and you're just viewing overhead maps, and you're just seeing little specks and dots on the map, and you hover over them, and you press a button, and the little explosion goes, and it doesn't really make much noise, doesn't really look like anything bad, and you do it over and over again. And I was like, okay, fine, video games. And then you come out of it. After it's done, you close down the monitor and come back out and back into the scene that you were in before. And it is completely different. Everyone is dead.
Yeah.
The entire environment is on fire and black and charred, and there's people crawling around screaming. And you then, because that's ahead of you in the level, you have to walk through that, and you walk slowly through this bit of the level, and it's hard, man. It's like, oh my god, I did that. And not only that, it really brings home the idea that you are completely removed while you're looking at this little screen, playing a little game, just dropping yellow flashes onto black and white people. You know, that just feels really gamey, and that's completely removed from the real life thing of you just incinerated an entire area and a lot of people.
Whilst playing through that section, it's just you got people screaming, you got fires everywhere. And whilst playing through it, when people started crying out, I was like, I'm just going to shoot them.
Yeah, I did. When in one of those situations, I mercy killed every single person I saw because I couldn't, and I waited around longer in that area to find them.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if he's moving, he needs to be taken down because I'm really sorry that I did this.
It's just to make yourself feel that little bit better about doing it.
And the game conveys that so well.
There was just this one guy that was constantly screaming, and I just couldn't find him, so I had to give up in the end.
But it makes you go mad. It just literally drives you mad. And that's so tied in with the story of the game in that your main character does just lose it. You know, through elements of the horror that he sees, the crimes that he has to commit or feels he has to commit in the name of good and the whole thing. And also just revenge and anger against these people. It's horrible. It's horrible. I've never seen more people hanging from things.
Oh yeah, there's
game.
so many people hanging from lampposts in that game.
That's nasty.
Yeah, it's so well written as well, though, especially with your team.
Yeah,
your team are constantly.
One thing
going.
I did notice about the demo was the dialogue between them, and that was from playing kind of 15 minutes of the demo or something.
Yeah, your team is always questioning what you're doing, and they start fighting between each other, and it just gets better and better.
Well, and there's really good actions. Actually, another thing that we can say, probably out of context, which isn't too spoilery. There's a moment in the game where one of your team members just executes someone.
But it's just the way it happens as well. So he's trying to activate this thing, and the back and forth the guy is discussing about the equipment. and they're getting along really well, and then the guy helps him turn it on, and then he just pulls out his gun and shoots him.
Yeah.
Just with no look on his face or anything, just doesn't say a word, pulls out his gun and shoots him.
And it's a really interesting move in that it puts you in the opposite position, where it puts you reacting to it going, whoa, what the fuck? Why did he just do that? When previously in the game, they've been doing that to you as you've been executing people. And you're like, oh man, it does so much to just go, stop shooting people, man.
in this shooting game,
you know. Yeah, exactly. And it's really interesting, really interesting. It's got an amazing epilogue after the credits as well. It just pulls out a lot of tricks, but it's stuff that a couple of years ago everyone, myself included, were raving about Call of Duty for those exact reasons. You know, the bit in Call of Duty Modern Warfare where the nuke goes off and you survive and you can wander around for a bit and then you just die. That was a chilling scene that had not really ever been done in video games in that way before. And since then, Call of Duty have gone way more with it. You know, they had the bomb going off in London in front of the family in the last Modern Warfare game, Modern Warfare 3, I think that is.
Yeah.
And, you know, a little girl's just there playing up for the camera and a car bomb goes off behind her. You know, that's horrible. This does all of that, but it does it in much more of a smart way. It's not just shock tactics and, you know, stupid, like, oh, this bad stuff's just happened. It makes you think.
It's ramifications from your actions.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's entirely about. Yeah. And you just do a lot of slow walking through bodies in this game. There's a bit where you see a load of candles, see the candles, and you walk over them and the candles go out.
Yeah.
Oh.
But like you were saying about Call of Duty, the further Call of Duty goes with these things, the less of the impact. Yeah, it's just like, okay, so...
Yeah, exactly. And this didn't do that. This really grounded it, I think.
Yeah, because there was the whole discussion about the Russian level in Call of Duty, walking through an airport, shooting people. I was just like, this... just walking around, just shooting people with Call of Duty. Also, there was no choice element in it. No. It's kind of you could not fire, but the game presumed you were going to fire in that level and stuff because you were pretending to be one of the dudes. Yeah. You're undercover. There's a similar thing in Spec Ops, but you don't have to fire. Yeah. But you might, and if you do, you'll feel bad. You know. But I mean, other things about the game is it's like I say, it's not a great cover-based shooter. It has a lot, and I really hate these in games. And I was gonna blame Batman: Arkham Asylum for them. And then I realised it's not Batman Arkham Asylum where these first came in, it's Gears of War. And it's that some dialogue is happening, so I'm going to slow down and walk very slowly whilst holding my ear. Yeah.
You know, that games keep doing now, and it's like, stop doing that. And it's really, I find it really annoying in Spec Ops. It happens way too much. Starts with an on-rails shooting section.
Which you love. You're a big fan of this.
Which is always a great opening for a game.
Then it repeats the exact same section 2/3 of the way through the game.
Yeah, it does an Uncharted too.
Yeah.
But
I do like the comment from the guy who goes, didn't we already do this?
Yeah. It's a good game. It's a smart game. I'd like to see more games like that, although I wouldn't like to see any more of Spec Ops The Line.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like it stayed its welcome just the right amount.
Yeah.
Kept me interested, but it couldn't have gone any further. You couldn't have kept the story interesting any longer, and you couldn't have kept the gameplay interesting any longer either. I did try a bit of multiplayer.
Yeah.
But as expected, it's kind of just multiplayer that you don't really need to care about or would care about. Probably not going to have loads of people playing it all the time. Oh, worked fine. It was just a standard third-person shooter, you know. Yeah. But once you take out the interesting story parts, it becomes nothing more than that.
Yeah.
It did have one interesting dynamic. I only did deathmatch. There are some other interesting modes, but I can't talk about those. But in the deathmatch, throughout the middle of the match, a sandstorm came in over the map, which was quite cool because you can't see shit. There's people everywhere, and it gets really dangerous. But it also takes out your radar and your electronics because of the interference. And so that was quite cool at just not being able to predict when that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But other than that, very run-of-the-mill. I love the title screen on this game. I love games where the title screen becomes the game.
Yeah, it's good.
You know? That's quite cool. Spec Ops The Line, man. You should play it.
It was awesome.
Everyone should play it. I think the message is slowly getting out. I think reviews have been pretty positive for this game, but it's a surprise. It's a massive surprise.
Yeah. I might check it out.
My only advice is if you play it, you need to finish it because the beginning the beginning's not necessarily great, and until it gets interesting, you just need to see it right the way through to get the payoff. Yeah. Like a movie, you know, like if you missed the last half hour of a movie, you'd be stuffed. This you kind of need that.
Yeah, you have to finish it.
So yeah, it's worth doing, and I'm a real surprise this week that I'm glad we had.
Yeah.
All right then. Well, should we talk about another big release? Amazing Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man.
The Amazing Spider-Man.
You both got this.
Yes.
Yep.
I haven't played it, but I have seen. I watched you playing it, Sean.
Yeah.
and I haven't seen you playing it, Joe, so I can't confirm for the people at home that you even got
Sunday.
it. Okay. What's it like?
It's pretty good.
Does it do whatever a spider can?
Well, no, because that'd be pretty rubbish. Spiders don't really do that much. They eat flies.
Yeah, but Spider-Man did whatever a spider can.
Plus more.
He does more than a spider.
Okay.
Much.
So what can you do in this game? You spin a web any size?
Oh man, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out. What's gonna happen? It's the most obvious comparison that most people are going to make to this is Batman Arkham City. It's initially appears to be open world, but I wouldn't even say that's really fair. I think the best comparison you can make is Lego Batman. Okay. So the city serves more as a hub than your actual gaming ground. The levels that you go into are mostly handled in interiors.
Yeah, that was one of the things that bugged me. I mean, it looked like DC Universe Online, where like all your missions are just within a building. I go to a building, then within a building, and do that. And the interior stuff's the stuff I like the least about Spider-Man games.
Certainly,
he's freaking Spider-Man, and also I've never known a game that doesn't just scream Batman, Batman, Batman at you all the freaking time, which is what this does. The combat's Batman has got grates and moving through air vents like Batman. It's got gargoyles like Batman. It's Batman.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It does have gargoyles. It doesn't have gargoyles. You're not limited to preset sections of the environment to jump to. I mean, the web rush is its key individual mechanic, I think, which is your right bumper. So when moving through the city, you can just tap the right bumper, and it does very cinematic. It's almost like the Apple product of video games. It's like, you can't be trusted to look good being fucking Spider-Man, so we're going to do it for you.
Yeah.
All you've got to do is point your analog stick in a direction and press the right bumper, and it looks beautiful. He'll run up a wall and flip off and bounce off the side of a building, spring off a flagpole and stuff, and he does it all for you. But then that can also be held, and everything slows right down.
It reminds me of Driver San Francisco.
Yeah.
When you're switching vehicles.
Yeah, where he pulls out the car.
Yeah, and it's that's kind of how it feels as well, because you're slowing it right down, and then you're choosing the next point to shoot to, which is like
so you get. It's almost like back in the day, kind of late 80s, early 90s, where they would draw Spider-Man in a sequence of movement. So you'd have 3 ghost images of Spider-Man, and then like a solid image of him, and it's his pattern of movement.
Right.
So I kind of guess that's where it comes from, where if you press and hold the right bumper, it goes through into Spider-Man's visor, and you can. If it's really dark, you can actually see the yellow of the visor and all the pattern on the eyelids. If you're out in bright daylight, it's just kind of you're just first person view, and then it shows you all the key places that Spider-Man can instantly leap to, and he'll just automatically spin out a couple of webs and pull himself to that point.
Like you were saying about moving through the city using the web rush, I used it a little bit, but I still think my favourite thing to do is you swing, you get really high, and you just let him dive towards the pavement and then swing just before he hits it.
Yeah, and that produces rapid movement through web spin. The web spinning, obviously, they've changed it. It doesn't have the mechanic that you was quite concerned about, Mike.
Well, it's just the things that I've seen online from people complaining about this game is that the web swinging isn't real web swinging as such. He's swinging from the clouds, from sort of like an ethereal point in space. He's swinging from. And I remember just that really cool thing in 2, I think it was, where you could shoot individual webs, and you could shoot, say, one piece to a building one side and one to the other side of the street, and just kind of dangle there like Jesus in the middle. And that was kind of cool. It was hard because swinging was much harder, because you had much more control. And a lot of this game just seems to have just streamlined the whole thing.
Yeah.
That seems to be the point of it. So, like you say, this web rush stuff and these pointing at points and then hitting the button and just shooting off to it, and even what you said, Joe, about leaving it to the last moment when you go to hit the ground, seems like the game's doing a lot to just save you and make you look cool.
Yeah.
And the animation seems to adapt to these situations. So it's just like, it don't really matter what you do, leave it to us. We got you sorted. We'll make sure it looks badass.
They have changed it though, so it doesn't appear like you're just swinging from the clouds. So if you're in a lower down part of the city, you can only swing from a certain height, and if you go into Central Park, you can only swing from trees.
Yeah, that's actually what you said. Yeah, if there's nothing around, you just won't be able to swing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be emphasised that it's not PlayStation 1 as Spider-Man, where you can literally just swing off a massive building and go in a straight line.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. It does adjust to the buildings surrounding you.
Okay. I think the game looks beautiful.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, Spider-Man himself looks fantastic.
Character
the
models are great.
Just genius.
Well, as much as I say character models are great, Spider-Man's great.
Yeah.
Some of the like
the
Rhino
supporting
looks
actor.
a bit dodgy. I think the city looks wonderful. I think it's got just the right amount of stuff going on in it on multiple levels.
Yeah.
I think you can tell that Beanox are really proud of the city in the fact that in the intro, not the actual intro, but your starting screen with the press start now button, all it's showing you is the city. And in the end credits, when the credits roll in, it's again just showing you the city.
Well, and why shouldn't they be proud of it? I mean, Beanox, they've done a lot of port stuff in the past. They've done some Spider-Man.
They did the last two Spider-Man.
But this is their first open world-ish game, and it's impressive for that.
Yeah,
that isn't easy. Two things I wanted to mention was one, the intro video.
The Oscorp one.
Weird Oscorp, almost FMV.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I was like, is this from the movie? What is this? This is...
The first time I switched the game on and that advert started rolling, I was like, great, they're selling advert space at the beginning of fucking video games. Skip.
Yeah, expecting a little button that says
I
you can
thought
skip
it was
this
like
ad
a
in 5
fucking
seconds.
Nike advert or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's weird. It's like it's almost like some prototype sort of style stuff. It's weird FMV advert for Oscorp. It's worth mentioning this takes place 6 months after the movie.
Yes.
It?
Yeah.
So there are kind of spoilers to the movie in the game.
So that was fairly interesting. The other thing that I thought was quite curious and saddening to a degree was the fake Twitter type thing on the loading screens.
New York thoughts.
Yeah, and it's just like fake people from within the city going, I saw a man fly through the sky today. And then another one going, are you a girl? And it's like, let's go out. And it's just, that's weird, man.
I mean, it's. I don't think it is that weird. The worst aspect of that is that it doesn't have any photographs. It's like nobody on New York Thoughts could be bothered to put in any sort of.
I don't know why it's not a lot more.
Themselves.
I don't know why it's not a lot more like Twitter and those sort of things.
Yeah,
because it's just they've just put a name and a quote and anything. That's it. There's no, like you say, there's no profile tag for each person.
It's mainly just there so you can read it whilst it's loading.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. I just think it's weird. It's weird, man. It's got Twitter in this game.
It's got a fair few social network references. At one point, Spider-Man does say to a guy that tries to stun him, "I won't be sending you a friend request," and stuff like that. So I think, and it was kind of, we mentioned it a week or two ago. Yeah, on Lollipop Chainsaw. So I mean, where these things are big at the time, it's not unexpected that they should start turning up in popular culture that reflects that and life. You know what I'm saying? It's not that strange.
I would have liked it if those Twitter thoughts were real Twitter accounts. They've been pulled from Twitter into the game.
It's like you can't. There's a lot of legal shit with that involved.
But they could set them all. They could have set them all up.
I guess.
No, they could have done it so if you use like hashtag Spider-Man, that it appears on there.
But you need to appreciate that this is a company and a game that didn't even get. It's a license. It's a film license.
Yeah.
They didn't even get the actor from the film to play Spider-Man.
Yeah, you were saying he never takes his mask off.
He's Spider-Man all the way through. Even though that like a third of the supporting cast call him Peter constantly.
Yeah, and in the movie apparently he takes his mask off every 10 seconds. But then I suppose it comes down to a case of if you're licensed in the game, you're going to do it, and you're like, do you want him to take the mask off in the game? Because I'd rather look at Spider-Man's mask than a dodgy rendered face of a human. And then 2, also Spider-Man's cooler than Peter Parker. And then 3, if it was going to cost them $500,000 or X amount of money to get his face, I'd probably be on the camp of going, do you know what? Nah, let's just keep the mask on.
Just put the money into something else on the game.
But it is a bit weird. I see what you mean. It is a bit weird. But I just think, would I want to be playing with him with Peter Parker's face?
There's points where you kind of feel like at this point he would take off his mask and he would have some downtime.
Are any of the other characters licensed? Their likenesses, like Risa fans for Lizard Dude.
No,
it
doesn't. From what I've seen of trailers, it doesn't appear to have any of the cast in the game.
There's probably then I would have thought probably a cost thing.
Yeah. I mean,
but then it's still weird. Well, why wouldn't you just take his mask off for that? Like you say, if there's a key point where it's like an emotional scene, or if he's going to kiss someone, he's not just going to kiss someone in his Spider-Man mask.
Gwen Stacy kisses him several times with his Spider-Man mask
really?
on. Yeah,
okay.
She doesn't like go in there for a Frenchie or anything, but she does give him pecks on the cheek and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like every time he goes back to his apartment, which you do in between missions, so you can change your outfits and things like that. You'd expect him to take his mask off because there's no need to have it on the door. But yeah, just talks to the honest.
There's 2 points in the game where he is Peter Parker and not Spider-Man, and you see him from first person.
Oh, okay.
So it's right at the beginning.
So the model exists.
And right at the end.
The face exists.
No, I imagine he's just the spider. It's just a camera floating in space, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's first person.
Oh, right. Okay, so you never see. You never
No.
see it. All right. Okay.
You see his hands and stuff, and his feet.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It's a bit strange.
What I found interesting in this game, you say it's. So you made a connection to Batman Arkham City. I still think it's more Arkham Asylum than Arkham City. But then I suppose overall the game, because of the open world stuff, makes it more city-like. But the opening is so Arkham Asylum, with it's got a slow walk through through like a laboratory.
But
it has Killer Croc, man. It has that moment where Killer Croc comes out and Asylum's like, "I'll get you, Batman."
But it's the Rhino.
But it's Rhino, and it's like, oh my god, this is. I can't believe this.
It does have a very strong mix. It is Arkham Asylum. I know exactly what you're saying, but it's done in the Beanox style, so it is at the same time very shattered dimension.
Yeah.
It does have the sections where you're climbing through kind of a lot of grates and air ducts and stuff, and it focuses purely on Spider-Man's shoulder, and he'll be looking at conversations being had below him. All that kind of stuff is very shattered dimension. For people out there that are concerned that want to play it before they go and buy it because they're worried that it's going to be like Edge of Time, it's not. Okay. This is a relatively good quality game. The combat is lifted pretty much from Batman.
Again, yeah, it's like, here comes the dude with a shield.
Yeah, it is. It's very Batman combat, but not as good.
Yeah, it's you do get frame rate issues when you surround.
It was things like a bunch of guys got to kill them in the same rough way. Then there's a guy that I've got to jump over to stun from behind or whatever. Then every 5 seconds you're hitting a button to suddenly jump out of the action back up to the rafters of the level, and it's like, this is just Batman.
Yeah, it's
the only thing that makes it not is there's no detective vision, which I'm amazed that there's no detective vision.
I was quite surprised. I was like, I need to know what's going on with my detective vision, and there is no button for it.
Yeah, it's like, because on Batman, when you do counters in combat, he has that little thing above his head to warn you that he's got a counter.
Yeah.
If you play it on easy, Batman has his little spidey sense. Go, oh yeah, by the way, counter now. Yeah. It's just weird.
Very, very, very strange. And grates, loads of grates.
Yeah,
grates,
a lot of climbing through.
I'm going to start an online petition because that's the way to get anything done. Trying to rename grates to not so greats. Because
only in video games.
Yeah. Well, no, in real life, have you ever met a grate that you thought, I'm so glad that's there, that's awesome?
No, because
I've never seen a grate in real life that couldn't have just been paved over.
Yeah, well, I think we'd have a lot of flooding issues if all of the storm drains were suddenly
I suppose that's true.
Concreted over.
All right, well, I'll retract that.
So they're okay. Those ones are okay. They're not great, but they're okay.
Not so great. All right, anything else on Spidey? Oh no, Stan Lee. Tell me about Stan Lee.
Stan Lee.
Yeah, the Stan Lee was... I've say limited DLC. It seems to be that every place I've seen Spider-Man, it says exclusive Stan Lee content.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just like a first run thing, like we did for Just Cause.
Yeah.
Where like once that batch is done, it won't be included.
Yeah,
I presume we had to buy him as well.
I imagine so. There's also additional content which was exclusive to GameStop in the States, which was the Rhino challenge maps.
Challenge maps.
Well, yeah, because it's when you play Stan Lee, it's challenge. It's
separate
other challenges
from the main
Stan
game.
Lee. Yeah.
Oh right, so it's like the Joker bit in PS3 Batman Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
So tell us about Stan Lee. Is a character you can use them as?
Yes, I mean he's got recorded dialogue. He says his own little catchphrases.
True believers.
Yeah, Excelsior. As he swings around the city and stuff. The absolute best bit about Stan Lee is when you're in web rush mode, and instead of looking through Spidey's visor, you're looking through Stan Lee's 80s. Shades, yeah, that's pretty badass.
No, I do love the idea of that.
It is so well done. The model's great, and it's just where they've got it's an entire side mission thing for Stanley as well, not just the skin like I originally thought it would be.
Yeah. No, I thought it'd just be a costume that you put on and you're him. But no, the fact he's got recorded dialogue is it's genius.
And he just plays like Spider-Man, I take it.
Yeah, he's got exactly Spider-Man's powers. I mean, he doesn't really have much of a story. He's writing Spider-Man's 50th birthday script, and he blows out the window of his apartment, and you have to do like a race thing to catch them all before the time runs out.
So weird.
And then
you get
a little Easter egg movie at the end. It's all right.
It's really strange because that's like so to the fans, you know. It's like like the game and all Spider-Man stuff is all quite serious. That Spider-Man's real, he exists, and he's a superhero and stuff. And then that level is like, no, Stanley's writing Spider-Man's story.
Takes
it back a level.
Spider-Man does do fourth wall breaking stuff in the cartoon and in the comic books. In the comic books, he meets Stan Lee as well, and I think it is.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, I think it's like his. I can't remember 30th. It is one of the, that's the cover you unlock.
Yeah.
When you complete the Stan Lee section, but I can't remember what issue it was.
There's the little thing as well when you're playing Amazing Spider-Man. You go to this apartment, it's abandoned. It's Peter Parker's friend Stan who owns the apartment.
Yeah.
Who is Stan Lee?
And you do get a nice little voice message from him later.
Yeah.
Because Doc Connors runs up his credit card.
I just use the credit card until it stopped working.
Crazy. So this game's alright.
Yeah, I mean the most standout thing about it has to be the robot boss fights, which happen in the city rather than in buildings.
Yeah, I saw some of that when you're fighting a Reaper.
Yeah, it was pretty much a Reaper from Mass Effect. And they are the kind of most cinematic, most kind of exhilarating sections in the entire game. I would say if you're into action games, it's worth a look. If you're a Spidey fan, it's definitely worth a look.
I think the only problem I have with certain bits is that Spider-Man games in particular, they're cool when you're out and about in wide open areas, and then the closed areas are the bits I don't like.
They can fall apart. This one handles interiors better than Spider-Man 3 and Spider-Man 2.
It's almost not the fault of the game a lot of the time. It's almost like a fault with Spider-Man that I have, in that he has too many powers. The swinging around and flying around stuff, cool. I like that, the acrobatic stuff. I don't like sticking to walls and walking over tight. You know, like when you're in a fucking corridor in a Spider-Man game and you've gone up the side and then you go onto the ceiling and then you go and you're like, I don't know where I am anymore, but I'm in the smallest space possible, so I shouldn't be able to get lost. Yeah. But somehow I have been lost in 3D space. Yeah. When you're just flying around, that's cool. I love swinging. Spider-Man does a lot of carrying people on his back.
This game particularly.
It's like, what is that all about?
There's kind of two side missions which are you have to collect mental patients that you help escape inadvertently at the beginning. And you have to collect people that are infected with a virus and take them to medical places. There's a lot of them to collect, man. So there's a lot of swinging around.
Well, you reminded me of another thing then. Do we have Captain America Fabergé eggs?
Yes, in the fact you have to collect pages of comic books.
500 comic book pages.
There's not. There's 700 in total.
Is there?
There's 500 to get all of the covers of the comic books. There's 700 to get the achievement. And that's a lot of collecting.
That's like Crackdown level, sort of stuff. Well, at least the comic book pages, which isn't too bad. They're not like commemorative plates or Fabergé eggs or anything else just weird.
A series of random. I mean, you said that people online have compared it to Captain America. I would say that's quite an unfair comparison, really.
Yeah, actually, I'll agree with you. From seeing it, it is a much more polished game than Captain America. Yeah. I think it's just a case of like, wow, everything seems to be going after that Batman model at the moment. And well, the thing that's got to me the most is like when Batman came out and when I was working on Batman and we were all very excited about it, everyone was very excited about Batman, it was kind of cool. And everyone's like, yeah, more Batman? Yes, please. Love more of that. And now I'm kind of like, I don't want any more games like Batman. Like that's been done.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things is if you're going to do it, you need to do it better than the top dog, and it's
well, that's the other thing. Yeah, nothing's still knocked off the Batman.
No,
games.
I mean Batman does it so well that it makes it look easy, and I'm pretty sure it's not.
Yeah. Also, I just kind of think that use some creativity out there. It's always superhero games now. It's like when someone goes, "Oh, we can make a superhero game. Shall we?" Just do it like Batman. It's just like, well, I wouldn't even mind a Batman-like game that wasn't a superhero. That was just Joe Nobody kicks the shit out of people.
There you go, Joe. You get your own game, man.
Yeah, that's it. I don't know, so specifically, I used your surname there. All right. Well, on that note, let's take a break for a bit. Let's slam in a piece of music, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about DLC time after this.
Yeah.
Because there's some big RPG DLC. SBC. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Slimy.
It felt like it needed something.
Yeah,
else.
I was trying to answer what's going on. Anyway, we're going to play a piece of music now. This is absolutely no relevance to anything. It's just a flashback to youth that you brought to my attention the other day.
Yeah. I'll explain after music why we've picked it.
Yeah. All right. Well, here it is. We're back.
What's happening?
So yeah, that was the manga theme. So for our younger listeners, that would have been on the beginning of literally absolutely everything you bought manga branded in terms of Japanimation.
Makes no sense.
The reason I picked it is because I was at Carl's birthday party a week or so ago, and they were playing theme musics from kind of cartoons and stuff that they watched on YouTube on their television.
Kids.
And that's how parties roll these days. And yeah, I put it on, and all of them were just like, "What's this?" Yet all of them watch manga by a bucket load. Like, this is the manga theme.
It was on the end. It was on the beginning of absolutely. I mean, this is back in VHS. Days, but it was on DVDs as well. But it was at the beginning of everything, and it was like. It was awesome. The music was awesome for a start. Like, it's the most generic rock music in the world, and then randomly it just goes. Huh!
But the thing that made it awesome was it's combined with Fist of the North Star, Akira, Project K, whatever the little chicks that jump on missiles are.
Yeah, Dominion Tangle
Mars Wars, and it's like all the real big franchises.
Just a weird video montage,
wasn't
it? And it had like strange words that came up towards the end of it. It's like power, fantasy, and like really odd stuff. And then at the end, when it fades out, it just has the dude. Is it from Akira?
Yeah, it's
going, what's happening?
I can't remember his name. It's not Kaneda. It's Tetsuro, the Iron Man.
It is an obscure video. It was awesome. It was my favourite thing.
And it's kind of the thing about that was when anyone started a conversation about manga in kind of 1993 or something, the first thing that came into your head was and inevitably somebody would do it.
Yeah,
it was
every
unavoidable.
It was. Yeah.
So that's a little trip for our younger listeners. Look it up on YouTube.
You still love it. When I go back to it, I look at it and go, "Oh my god, that was awful."
It is awful now. But at the same time, it's kind of
it got you pumped up for what you were about to watch. Every single time I was like, "Yes, we're watching this."
But the problem was, occasionally you'd be watching like Patlabor, where the trailer for Patlabor is taken from the beginning 3 minutes, where there's a tiny bit of mech action, and then the last like 5 or 10 minutes of the film where there's a tiny bit of mech action, and the 2 hours in between is about 2 detectives investigating a suicide about a virus. And it's the dullest film ever. And when you're that pumped and you've seen the trailer and you're like, this film's going to be awesome, giant mechs killing robots, it's a bit of an anticlimax. Yeah.
But yeah, cool. Weird. It was as synonymous with manga as the would you steal a car? Would you steal a handbag? Like all that stuff is just on everything. And it's like, well, actually, a point to that is, no, I wouldn't steal a car or a handbag, but I would download one if I could. If I could download a car, then I probably would torrent it. Anyway, that was a lot of chat for our clip of music there, but it's cool. Yeah. It's cool. Let's talk about some more games then, and not any full releases now they're going to, but two big pieces of DLC.
Yeah,
I find it odd that these have come out at the same time.
Yeah,
because they are it's the same audience and they're both rivaling for your attention,
but in really different ways. And to be fair, kind of Mass Effect 3's download was absolutely free.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right. Well, which we go on first then? It's Dawnguard and Mass Effect 3.
Let's do Mass.
All right, so Mass Effect 3. This is the controversial "we've changed the ending" release, completely free.
Yep.
The fans demanded it, and here it is.
Let's start with it's not so much of changing the ending as making it more clear of what happened.
Okay.
So to be fair, it's referred to as director's cut.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
When you're looking.
No, it's extended cut.
Oh, is it extended cut?
So it adds the whole DLC starts from the Shadow Broker base. No, it's not Shadow Broker, is it?
Cerberus.
Yeah. So when you attack Cerberus base, that's when it will start. So it adds a couple of cutscenes in before you go up to the Citadel at the end,
right? To
clarify the reason why the Normandy left the planet. So it's like there's the whole scene of where you put an injured member on the ship and it goes away, and then Hackett orders the ship to get away. And
I did wonder because I only finished it this morning and I did like the final push and stuff, and I did wonder if that scene was in the original.
Yeah, no, it adds a couple. It adds 2 or 3.
Is it? Does it add any actual gameplay?
No,
it's just slotting in
optional
cutscenes,
choice at the end.
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's massive. I mean, it's kind of like
1.8 gig, I think.
Yeah,
right.
But that's purely because it's predominantly cinematics.
Yeah. Okay. And you guys, if I remember correctly, you guys didn't have a problem with your ending.
I didn't have a particular real problem. I think he was a little disappointed.
I didn't mind the ending so much. I felt a little let down because it literally just sort of ended, and it felt like I just played through 3 games for no real reason. So I'd fought through this entire war, and then it just sort of ended. I didn't get to see the fruits of my labour.
I mean, that was kind of part of my argument with the whole series as a whole. Really, is that you're saying what you said then is that you felt like you played the 3 whole games for no reason, and it's like, well, I don't know that at the end of the 3rd game that you're even allowed to consider the previous 2 games at the end of this. Like why does the end of the 3rd game have to? I mean, I suppose it's different from Mass Effect because your choices are supposed to add up.
Because they roll on.
But like, really, you play games for a reason. You had fun playing them.
Yeah, the Mass Effect 3 was awesome.
That was my main argument, that it's not about the ending. It's kind of about the journey.
Yeah.
And you see, as you're rolling, as the decisions are made, you do see consequences to your actions, and it's delivered in the games. So consequences from 1 in 2, consequences from 1 and 2 in 3, consequences from 2 in 3, and so on and so forth.
Is this better?
I think it's a lot better than the original endings.
Okay.
I was kind of indifferent. It feels a bit more rounded as an ending. I didn't think it kind of really added that much. I don't know how much it's going to actually quell people's rage online. I don't think it's going to do much.
From what I've looked on forums and things like that, people are happier with the way it's ended because now it shows.
They're still not happy, but they're happier.
Yeah. So
less angry.
It just clarifies what happens to the galaxy afterwards.
I suppose just explaining where it's all left and how it got there is kind of.
It felt to me like they've just kind of nicked Obsidian's ending to Knights of the Old Republic 2 and put pictures to them.
Okay.
Because at the end of Knights of the Old Republic 2, you just have someone standing there going, "This is what happens to your crew." You can ask questions, and she's like, "This person goes off and does this."
Yeah, it's almost like at the end of a movie when like the text would come.
Yeah.
It'd be like, Johnny moved to Las Vegas and had 3 kids.
Exactly like that.
Okay, I mean, how would you have felt though if they'd completely changed it? I don't know if that would have been better if the ending was just completely different.
Yeah, they said they couldn't do it and they weren't willing to do it, and
that would have been a bad move for them, I think.
Yeah,
'Cause at least with this way they can still sort of pretend it was always their plan.
Yeah.
See, I was always perfectly happy with the ending. I just wished there was more of it, which is where the extended cut came in, really.
So you got your wish, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
Joe's made up.
Yeah, I'm perfectly happy.
Mass Effect 3 Joe edition.
Yeah. But yeah, I love the endings. You know, it was just better. It was less final and more sort of,
Does it leave it or change anything in terms of it going forwards with any more games or any offshoots or anything like that? Does that change at all? Or?
Depending on what you pick.
Yeah, because there's 4 different options and they will have slightly different variations of each other. But yeah, they've always said that they were going to do more Mass Effect. It just wasn't going to involve Shepard.
Okay. The one thing I was going to ask was, did you do so how does this work, right? You got a new ending, so does it just slaps you back in the end of the game right before it?
Well, I loaded up a specific save.
Okay.
Yeah, no. What the game does is once you complete it, it reverts you back to before you attack Cerberus, which is the final point. That once you attack it, you can't go back. So it automatically creates that save, so you can go back there for any future DLCs.
And so then from that point, then here's my question: did you do the same things you did the first time around?
I did specifically, yes.
I did as well.
Because I wanted to see what had changed in comparison to that.
All right, fair enough.
It's free. If you've got Mass Effect, download it.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I suppose they'll bundle it onto a disc at some point.
No doubt.
They'll do a Game of the Year.
Yeah, I think they'll probably have some more kind of serious paid DLC at some point. They did quite a lot for Mass 2. There wasn't very much for Mass 1.
No, there was 2 really poor DLCs.
But then DLC wasn't quite as popular then as it is now.
Going on from that then, the other big bit of DLC and the first bit of DLC for Skyrim came out.
Yes,
Dawnguard. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean,
I've forgotten Skyrim now.
It's kind of interesting because I had fucking shitloads of technical issues trying to get back into Skyrim. So I've not played a vast amount. I'm kind of of the same mind of you that Skyrim as a whole isn't really holding my attention. I will give it a bit more time. I'm about halfway through. I feel that for the purposes of the show, I probably picked the wrong option. It basically lets you side with vampire hunters or side with vampire lords, adding 2 new sets of skill trees for you to mess around with. And the thing that's quite interesting about the skill trees is that those are developed completely separate from your other skills.
Oh, okay.
So you have to physically transform either into a vampire lord or into a werewolf to gain points for that skill tree, and you're leveling up those very quickly, but that's not affecting your overall level. So your levels, where everything else is tied in together, if you increase your sneaking, your overall level's going up. That's not how this works at all. You need to do a very specific kill as a vampire lord for that to start ticking up and gaining the points. The perks are shit for a vampire lord.
Really?
Yeah. The powers, you use pretty much one power, which is like drain enemy life, which is what ticks up your skills as a whole. The kind of telekinesis that they ripped off of Legacy of Kain doesn't really work very well. Technically, it's quite buggy. People are going to be down on me for speaking in such a negative way about this DLC because I think it is well loved.
It's been a long time coming as well. It's the thing everyone's been looking forward to.
Yeah.
Does it add new environments?
It does, yeah.
Does it still all look like Wales?
Yeah, pretty much. It adds a vampiric castle off of the north coast of the continent. It adds a Dawnguard castle and a section of Oblivion as well. Soul Karen, I think it's called. Whereas a vampire lord lady, it would be the equivalent of a male lord, trapped there, and you need to go there and get an Elder Scroll from her and stuff. And so that's quite a spacious environment. There's quite a lot going on there. There's submissions to do there and stuff.
Do they not do what they used to do in Oblivion when you became a vampire, which is you cannot go out in daylight?
Because you're not a kind of thrall. You're a vampiric lord. Daylight weakens you, but you can wander around quite happily. It tells you every time you're out in sunlight that sunlight boils vampire blood. You're weaker in respects of taking damage and stuff, but it doesn't really hinder you that much if you're quite high level.
Quite a big move, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
To sort of stop you from
It's what they did. Was what they did in Oblivion. So you couldn't fast travel because there was the danger that you'd come out of fast travel and it'd be daylight and you're stuck in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
you got nowhere to hide from it.
No, it lets you fast travel. It doesn't hinder you too much. It kind of got some interesting stuff. From what I understand, they've added new weapons and stuff as well. You get crossbows now.
Yeah.
That you're given right at the beginning of the DLC.
That's quite cool.
Yeah,
that's quite cool because I didn't like the archery stuff in the game. Although I did because it was like shooting.
Closest you're going to get to a gun.
It was kind of too slow to do, so a crossbow would be quite cool.
Crossbows are slower than bow and arrows.
Are they?
You need to reload the fuckers.
Okay.
I've not actually used the crossbow because I sided with the vampires and they're strongest against vampires.
I still thought there was I had too many weapons in Skyrim anyway because
Yeah.
I only picked like 2 that I wanted to use and then that was it.
I usually have my sword
Yeah.
and a magic spell, and that's it.
Well, what's worth mentioning with this is expensive.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It's £14, 1,600 points.
1,600 points.
I mean, I noticed Microsoft are taking the piss with Skyrim stuff. Skyrim on Games on Demand is £50.
Yeah.
And you're not even getting a fucking box and a map. You know what I'm saying? You can pick it up second hand in a shop, £30.
Yeah.
That's what I did. Why the fuck would I download it?
But then, I mean, the Games on Demand prices have been way off for a long time, haven't it? It was only last week that they took a sale on some real crap.
Yeah, it is.
But a big sale, down to like $3.99.
Well, I bought Rockstar Table Tennis, $3.99.
Yeah.
Have a bit of that.
Exactly. But Games on Demand has always been bad. And Microsoft have always been like that. They've always been like, a lot of their bigger first-party games have been £50.
Yeah,
recommended
and it
retail
doesn't
price.
really make sense because no one sells them at £50 in
No,
the shop.
when they first launched, when the Xbox 360 launched, the launch titles like Perfect Dark and
Yeah, I bought
they
games. I bought
Yeah.
Just Cause 1 was £50. Saints Row, I think I bought a 45 limited edition, but
Right.
it'd been out for a month or two. So yeah,
So that takes the total price of Skyrim up to quite a lot.
yeah, and it's only the first piece of DLC. But to
Yeah.
be fair, they've released a lot of kind of little bonuses for Skyrim horseback combat.
Yeah, the Kinect stuff.
Yeah,
I saw an ad.
kill cams.
I saw an ad on TV for Dawnguard,
Oh really?
like last night,
Oh, okay.
which was really weird. It was like it was an ad for Skyrim in general, but it was focused on Dawnguard and Kinect.
Right.
Really weird to see a major television ad for a piece of DLC.
Yeah, it is.
So it'd be interesting to see how this does. And presumably everyone's going to buy this no matter what.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
I don't think I'm going to. I'm not ready to go back into Skyrim. Skyrim now already in my memory feels really old. Like it's going to look really, really old.
It's still a relatively pretty game in places. A lot of it is white and grey because you're in mountains and covered in snow.
I never played as much of Skyrim as I thought I would.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't put any hours on Skyrim.
Because with Oblivion, I spent hundreds of hours, like dozens of characters, just playing different ways. Skyrim, I got one character, maybe about 15 hours, and I just sort of stopped.
But why is that?
I don't know. It just didn't grab me like Oblivion did, and I don't know why. It was at a point where there was a load of games coming out, so I may have just been sidetracked by something else and just never really gone back.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, now that Spider-Man's kind of out of the way, I think I will invest a bit more time in Dawnguard, maybe come back next week and talk about the werewolf side, because I've got a save ready to flip to.
Yeah, be good to to be honest, I like the werewolves. I quite like the werewolf stuff.
I want to kind of have a look at the skill tree and stuff and see what werewolves have to offer.
I think my character's already a werewolf.
Yeah, mine is already a werewolf, but that's the other thing, because it also states that you can't become a vampire if the vampiric lord will just burn out werewolf blood.
Really?
Yeah, it's an option. You can just take it.
All right. Well, maybe we'll check back in on that then on a future episode. One thing I wanted to mention actually, Joe, which I saw earlier in the week, which I forgot to say about, is the Hitman HD collection is coming.
Is it? Really?
Box copy. Hitman 2, Hitman Blood Money, 360 and PS3.
Interesting.
Hopefully they use the PS2 versions. I think they work.
I think they'll use the PC versions.
Okay, I've never played PC.
And because presumably Hitman in particular is very old, that the best way of getting to look, the easiest way to HDify that is to use the PC version rather than the other.
Hitman, the original one, was only on PC, wasn't it?
No.
The first Hitman was.
Was it? Yeah, it might have been actually. Yeah,
Silent Assassin number 2 is when they first started going to other things. Hitman 1 you can only get on PC.
I'm going to look into that.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
I think you might be right.
No, it is. I guarantee you.
I don't believe
I'm willing to make a bet right now.
No, it's all right.
Well, yeah, but that's coming, and the price tag attached to it on Game or wherever it was online where it was shown for a bit was £30.
Yeah.
So if it makes sense, I can see him doing it, but I just thought you'd be interested because you love those shit games. Another bit of news then that I wanted to mention just before we go into educating Joe this week. Was that, remember the rumour about Sony and having some sort of cloud service to offer backwards compatibility with Gaikai? Yeah. And then after E3, Gaikai announced their big merging with Samsung, for Samsung televisions. So it was like, well, that's not happening. And Sony said nothing. Yesterday it was announced that Sony have bought Gaikai.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
So $380 million, which... It seems like a lot, but I think I saw things online of people going, that's not actually that much. It's still $380 million, no matter which way you slice it, which is a lot of cheese and pickle sandwiches. That's cool. No one really knows what this means, but it could potentially be huge. This could be a game changer for Sony. Analysts are saying, like Michael Pachter and stuff, are saying that actually what they think is that this is more designed to help Sony in other areas. Sony as a company are a bit stuffed at the moment. And it's designed to sort of help them in other areas. So maybe this is going to go into their TV section, help them shift TVs, with Gaikai in it, and they can...
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Still buy Sony television.
But it's Sony Computer Entertainment that have bought Gaikai, not just Sony overall. It's the computer entertainment part. So what this means for PS4 or even PS3 is still up in the air. But it's a big deal. And Gaikai was the better service. I've used both services. They were very different. OnLive, obviously, is out there and largely for gamers. Gaikai focused initially on just demos and stuff, and did stuff, I think, with Origin for EA.
Right.
But it is a service that I have found works better. I think it has less requirements. The quality is better. Everything about it seemed better than OnLive. And it's Dave Perry. And it's Dave Perry running the whole thing, and he is a dude. He knows his games. That's the other thing. I feel better knowing that Dave Perry's in control of Gaikai than I do whoever the hell's in control of OnLive.
But to be fair, with OnLive, I didn't have any issues with it. It worked fine through the box.
But then again, also with all of us, I guess, none of us have really touched. Oh, you've got an OnLive box, haven't you, Joe?
Yeah.
Use it a lot, Joe.
Exactly. It's not something that we've used. So it's a weird one, but it's a big deal. It's only sort of up. But between OnLive and Gaikai, it seems that they've pretty much sewn up that market for streaming online gaming services. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what Microsoft do, or if it's an issue, or if Sony even plans to do anything this with the PS3 or whatever. But again, what's happening this year with big announcements coming out just after E3? It's kind of proving again and again and again the pointlessness of E3 as a whole.
Yeah.
If you don't need this kind of thing. Because why wasn't that at Sony's E3 conference? And why didn't Nintendo bring out the 3DS XL in theirs? It's just like, come on. That would have changed E3 quite a lot, I think. I think if Sony had brought that out in their conference...
They might have had a bit more weight.
Yeah, exactly. But then maybe it is that their plans are not anything to do with the consoles. So
yeah.
It's an interesting piece of news. Something, food for thought. So there we go. All right. Educating Joe?
Yeah.
Educating Joe.
Once upon a time, there was a boy named Joe. He didn't play many video games as a child. He was too busy out running and jumping through fields, perhaps stealing apples. But then one day, he found himself inexplicably on a video game podcast, and two guys, Mike and Sean, vowed to take him back through time to play the games he missed. This is Educating Joe.
All right, Educating Joe, we are back, and I love this game. Man, I loved this game. I had this game when it came out on a Megadrive.
Yes, so do I.
But I don't remember it very fondly. And then last night I fired it up to play it, and man, I really liked this game a lot. So the game we're talking about is Haunting, starring Poltergeist. Mm-hmm. That's a big deal. I think the title is actually Haunting, starring Poltergeist.
Yeah, it is.
On the title screen it comes up Haunting, and then almost immediately starring Poltergeist directly over the top of it.
Yeah.
Mega Drive game, 90s.
Yeah.
94-ish.
Yeah, I think so. Towards the end of the Megadrive life, maybe 93.
Yeah, and this game you play as Poltergeist, a ghost that has decided for whatever reason. I don't know. Do you know the reason, Joe?
No, it doesn't state it at the beginning. It seemed like he was in the house, then the family moved in. He didn't like him, then just decided to follow him for wherever they went.
Because throughout the whole game, you're haunting the same family, aren't you?
Yeah, in different houses.
He just terrorizes them.
You get the purpose of the game is to scare them so much that they move out of the house.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you just follow them to their next abode.
But I really liked it. So the way it works is like isometric, almost like the Sims style viewpoint, which has one downside in that the D-pad controls for moving you around are a nightmare because it's all diagonals. Yeah. And so going through doors can be an absolute freaking hellish experience. But you are Poltergeist, and you can move around the rooms of the house. The characters can't see you, can they, when they're just moving around? And you jump into certain objects, chairs, wall clocks, paintings, fish tanks, or whatever, and then make scary shit happen in those things. Yeah. So and you do that to scare then the member of the family that's wandering around that room. Scare them enough, they run out of the room. Keep following them, scaring them a bit more, and they leave the house. Yeah. And you do it to all the people, and they all leave the house. Every time you kill them, you pick up like ectoplasm from them that falls on the floor, which recharges your health.
It's weird. It's sort of your health across your stamina. If you because you waste it by doing exact
Yeah, and if you run out of that, then you go to a sort of underworld, sort of sewer basement level where you have to go and collect more to come back.
I perceived that section as hell, personally.
Yeah, it's kind of like a weird purgatory for the
ethereal plane. Yeah.
Because aside from that, or if you fail in the collecting the goo underneath in the hellish zone, there's no way of dying. There is no real fail, so you can just keep trying. What I really liked about it was the animations and the ways that you scare these people. Sometimes really horrific. It's standard like movie stuff of like paintings stretch out with characters, or a lava pit appears in the ground. But sometimes, every now and then, they're just dodgy. Like you can, the kitchen drawer opens, a load of kitchen knives come out and fly across all over the place.
There's the one where you can activate the aeroplane that goes flying across the room, the little toy plane.
And there's different modes, isn't there? Some of them you control. So some of them are just, you just jump in and jump straight out, and then over a period of time when the character goes near it, it will just scare them a little bit, or it'll wobble or shake or something. And then there's other ones that you go in where whatever comes out, you can directly control, which might be a floating skull, which you can then follow the character around, press a button, and the eyes and the skull bug out, and it freaks them out even more. And you can properly torture people. But it's cool. I really, really like it as a game. I hate Poltergeist as a character.
When you like in between levels, it's like Poltergeist is floating there talking. It's just like, I don't give a fuck.
No, he's like some green Johnny Rotten character in a leather jacket that I didn't much care for, with this stupid
green quiff.
Gary Rhodes haircut. So yeah, Joe, how did you find it?
Yeah, it was great fun to play as. I wasn't a big fan on like the underworld level.
No, it's a pain in the arse that you keep going back to it because there doesn't seem to be a way where you can play it where you won't run out of that goo.
Yeah, no, because it never gives you enough back.
No, exactly.
To carry on. Yeah. And it's just that one section you go back and forth. So if you go one way, then it's just like you go back the other. So I go halfway there, then go halfway back, and you're like dodging these fists, and the jump really is shit.
It's got one of those. No, it's odd actually because there's no reason for you to jump in the game at all apart from in that underworld bit, and even in that underworld bit, there's no reason for you to really jump. It's just that they've put arbitrary levels in, like every now and then, where you just got to jump, and you can't walk up to the edge like in any other game
and
jump onto it
because he'll just jump and bounce back off of it.
Yeah, so you have to come back a little bit and then jump, but all of that whilst dealing with the diagonals of the isometric viewpoint,
dodging
with the
fists coming out of walls.
Yeah, and he floats around, man.
Yeah.
It's like walking on ice.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with that. Those bits of levels are unwanted, but the scares I really like.
It's got some awesome ones in there. The one that I just always keep remembering is there's like there's a clock on the mantelpiece, and you get it, so it starts vibrating. The person comes out, and it's just this giant eyeball comes out, and it's just like.
They're pretty horrific. They're like if you saw them in a film or something, or God forbid, in real life. That would terrify the shit out of you.
The giant sofa that licks people.
Yeah. Especially when you're doing with like the little girl. You know, you're like in her room and you're making her bed come to life. Trying to eat her. It's like this is not.
It's hard. You don't want to do it, but you just want to carry on playing. So you're just like, do I really want to torture this little girl so she runs away?
I didn't get that far in it. So I played it for quite a while last night, maybe like an hour and a half, but I don't think I got past like the first house.
I got past the first house
because I kept dying and doing stuff. So do the environments change with different things in it?
I didn't load up the next house.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the pieces inside the houses change to.
I would expect
different things. There's also boss battles as well in
really?
Tree. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I remember there being boss battles.
I did get attacked by one thing at one point, a weird floating disembodied green head after someone left the room. I didn't know what was going on there. Because as is the problem with a lot of these games, is there's no instructions to it.
The game really could have done with a map.
It does have a map if you pause it.
Does it?
Yeah, if you pause it, it brings out the map screen of the house, and you can see the rooms that the characters are in, so you can go to those rooms. Because you are quite against the clock on some of them, aren't you?
But yeah, the reason I stopped was because I got to the second house, I run out of ectoplasm, it took me down to the basement. I was just like, "Fuck this! I'm not doing it again."
It wasn't without its issues, but the reason I kind of suggested it in the first place is because it's kind of underrated game and kind of forgotten game, and it was very unique at the time, and there was a lot of excitement about it when it came out.
I think it's really good. I think it's really good.
It was great fun. It was great fun to play.
And like I said before, there are similarities to like Ghost Trick, which is takes that similar approach of you're not really scaring people in that, but although you do scaring bit, but you're still interacting with objects rather than people. In order to make solve puzzles and stuff, and I think they probably could have gone quite a lot further with Poltergeist, with Haunting, in having puzzles in it. There are no puzzles. You're just literally just scaring people, and the way you scare people is you just jump into things, and there's no real obstruction. But I liked it.
Yeah, I think the mechanics are literally just the stamina and the time limits.
Yeah, it did have great animations in there as well for all the different bits and people jumping.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, at the time it was a very polished game.
Yeah, well, it was one of those great Electronic Arts games, and back when Electronic Arts were Electronic Arts.
Yeah.
And that and General Chaos and things like that were polished games that were coming out of EA at the time.
It was weird when their symbol came up on the screen and said Electronic Arts, but
the square, the triangle, and the circle.
Yes, I was just like, wow, I forgot EA used to be like this.
Yeah.
Now it's not just in the game, but yeah.
Even that's gone. At one point, Electronic Arts was borderline indie. They were pushing the envelope rather than just churning out the same
Electronic
shit
Arts
year after year.
Put out Deluxe Paint, Deluxe Paint 2, which I used a lot as a kid. But yeah, nowadays people don't even know they were called Electronic Arts.
No, they're just EA.
So Haunting, I really like this. I'm going to play it some more. now, and I wish they'd done more of it. It's a game that I could have gone a lot further, I think. I'd be willing to see it again now. Someone redid it in that sort of style. That'd be cool.
Yeah, do it as like an arcade game and just like polish up the graphics and do new things with it. It'd be awesome.
There's been a couple of comebacks, so you never know. Next couple of years, you might see.
It's where does it belong? Who's got it? And what's going on?
Yeah.
So it's a good game. Well, that was brief, but that was The Haunting. It's a great game. You should try it out. If you haven't played it, I do recommend playing it just because it is slightly different and it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's simple enough. Like, it's still quite a simple game at its core, and that is what I think makes it interesting. Next up, we've got a game I've never played before.
Yeah.
For Educating Joe next week.
Yep.
You've never played this game either, Joe, so this is going to be Educating Joe.
No, I'm not the person that's played it. I mean, I'm not sure how strong this game is as a choice.
We should just state what it is. It's Saturday Night Slam Masters.
Yeah.
Which is a Capcom wrestling
game.
Featuring Mike Hagger from Final Fight.
Yeah. As one of the selectable characters.
Yeah, and I've literally never even heard of this game. In all my years of playing old games and in emulating stuff and various others, I've never even come across it. It was only by chance that I saw it today. What I particularly like about it is the Japanese name was Muscle Bomber The Body Explosion, which reminds me of your old, weird, perverted muscle bodybuilding DVDs that you like to watch, Joe. Pumping Iron, yeah. The Body Explosion. And yeah, so I don't know, what is it? It's a wrestling game. It's just a wrestling game with Final Fight characters.
Yeah, pretty much. A Capcom wrestling game. So you might find that next week's Educating Joe is even briefer than this week's.
I don't know. This looks cool, to be honest. It's a SNES game, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be interested to find out kind of what you got to say on it.
It looks slick from the pictures. It looks slick. So
well, it was Capcom back in the day, so they're a premium service.
Hagger, man, Hagger. Yeah, he's mayor, but he doesn't mind slamming someone through a fucking table.
He gets around, old Hagger, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. When he's not looking for chickens in bins.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll have that next time. Saturday Night Slam Masters. That was Educating Joe. And we're back. It's time to wrap up this baby. But before we wrap this baby up, last week we had a competition on the show from our good friends at Excalibur Publishing. We gave away one copy of Garden Simulator. Garden Simulator, let's face it, a pretty great game.
Yeah.
It offered you Floral Fantasia. This week we've got another competition, also from our friends at Excalibur Publishing. This week, we're going to be giving away Stone Quarry Simulator.
I'm excited.
You should be excited. But not only that, no one won our last week's competition. So this week is a rollover. This week, up for grabs is Stone Quarry Simulator and Garden Simulator, the ultimate pairing. Let me tell you a little bit about Stone Quarry Simulator quickly. And these aren't my words. These are the words of our good friends at Excalibur Publishing. Dig deep with your skills as you aim to manage a series of challenging excavations as you embark on a quarrying quest to become a mineral magnate. Utilising numerous vehicles such as wheeled loaders and huge dump trucks, in concert with 7 accurately reproduced excavation machines, you must strive to meet orders from the construction trade. With numerous rocks and minerals including marble, limestone, and granite in your quarries, your services are much in demand. You will need to be an entrepreneurial excavator as you rush to meet delivery deadlines and grow your business, often working in harsh weather conditions that push your quarry crew to the limit. Will you use drilling machines and crushers, or will risky explosives get the job done? As your business expands, you can ease your workload by purchasing new, fully drivable vehicles and machines, or investing in new, lucrative quarries. The choices are yours, but with a range of challenging missions and a full reward system, the fruits of your rocky labours will be recognised. Embark on exciting excavations where only the most enterprising engineer will become king of the quarry. That sounds awesome, doesn't it?
It does sound amazing.
Let's just go over the real main features here. Numerous rocks.
That's it. Numerous rocks.
Fully drivable vehicles. Lucrative quarries.
Excellent. What more do you want from a video game?
If I'm perfectly honest, this does seem better than Garden Simulator.
Yeah.
The cover of the box and some of the pictures on the back make it look like Robot Wars with like these giant circular blades. There's also a screenshot of a transit van. And a Lego man, it looks like, with a digger thing. Stone Quarry Simulator for all your Stone Quarry simulation needs. And also Garden Simulator, obviously up for grabs this week. The same rules apply. You have 7 days to enter this competition. We will announce the winner on the next show. If there is not a winner, we will be having another rollover. This shit is crazy. All right? To win this copy and your copy of Garden Simulator, you just have to answer the following question. Email us at thingsweplay@gmail.com to get your entry in. You can enter as many times as you want. I really don't care. To win these fabulous games, all you have to do is answer this simple question. Which of these titles is not a video game by Excalibur Publishing? Is not a video game. So, first title, Underground Mining Simulator. Is that an Excalibur Publishing game? Could be, couldn't it? Next title, Radiator Repairman Simulator. Sounds like your sort of thing, Joe.
Only if he gets pawn tash.
And the last title is this one of Excalibur Publishing's games, Oil Platform Simulator. Simply tell us which one of those games is not an Excalibur Publishing title. Email us at thingsweplay@gmail.com. And if you have guessed correctly and are the first person to get through to us, you will win a copy of Stone Quarry Simulator with its numerous rocks and minerals. And a copy of Garden Simulator for some Floral Fantasia. Do get entering. We'll announce next week.
It's a must.
It is a must.
It's a no-brainer.
I don't know why no one entered for Garden
We got lost.
I think the question was a bit hard last week. I'm feeling more positive about this week.
Next week we'll be talking about some more games. Any games coming out next week? Do we know, chaps?
Don't think so.
Tour de France 2012. What are you talking about?
Okay, I stand corrected.
We might play Tour de France.
You might play Tour de France.
We'll also be talking about The Walking Dead episode 2.
Yep.
Which is out now, but we haven't got to that yet.
No.
Maybe some Penny Arcade.
Maybe.
On the Rain Slick Precipice of Darkness Part 3. That's an indie game that's recently come out.
Yeah.
And Summer of Arcade must be starting soon, but I really don't know when.
No, I mean Microsoft are quite ambiguous about when arcade games are being released.
Yeah, that's true.
You usually find out when you switch your Xbox on a Wednesday afternoon.
But I presume there must be something in the coming weeks for that. So we'll have something for next week, but who knows? Because there aren't a lot of games at this point in time.
No.
And then they'll start to ramp up again in August.
Yeah.
I still think we should have a nice little gaming evening on the Olympics.
I think I'll smash your face in.
Well, we'll see you in 7 days' time.
Osmo.
See ya.